Hi there guys, this is Farmer Bob. Welcome back to another video on the Giants Editor map making course. I think this is episode 23 if I'm correct, or I might be wrong, but yeah. Also, I think it's the first one for this year, I think. Might be the second one. I can't remember when I made the last one. Was it before or after the end of the year? But anyways guys, welcome to the channel and to the map making course. I think at this stage our map is actually playable at the moment. Um, uh, Apart from laying down 2 million props and making things looking nice and putting fences and poles and things, but nothing that we haven't discussed in the course yet. So everything in the course that we've done gets to the point where we are now to have a map that is working. We've done the train, we've done the sell points, we've done everything, the workings of different farms, we've done the placement of different things, placeables and that. I think the last thing that we can have a look at is maybe the environment, how to tweak your environment into which country you live, basically, or where your map is situated, because there is basically a northern and a southern hemisphere season in the game, that you can tweak. So I've noticed that it doesn't really matter where you place the environment.xml on the latitude, whether it's north or south. The degrees doesn't really make a difference. It's either got one setting for the north and one setting for the south. You can vary the degrees, but the game still takes it as either in the northern or in the southern. For instance, I think on this map, if I was looking or thinking correctly or looking back, did we do environment? Yeah, we did. Have a look at the environment. I've put my latitude on 32, but like I say, it's in the southern hemisphere. It really honestly doesn't matter. It will still put all your fruit in the southern hemisphere's fruit scheme or growth scheme, whatever you want to call it. Because the growth file sets up your different growth stages, and you can fiddle with that. I actually did make a video on how to do your different growth stages. We can have a quick browse at that, just to give you guys a bit of more info on that. But the environment, you can set the latitude here on your environment.xml. I know for a fact we have talked about this in the early games when we set up our map, but the environment XML, you need to change it, copy it from the base game into your map, and then change the environment XML directory here to actually get your environment working. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what latitude you put in there. It will either choose one setting for north and one setting for south. So you can put the Google Maps or Google Earth latitude in there, and it will choose a north or the southern automatically for you according to that. But should you want to tweak a little bit more realistic how your fruit is growing, you can do that in your mapsfruit.xml. Not mapsfruit, the mapsgrowth.xml. Now this one also needs to be copied into your map. I don't think it's there by default, so you bring it from the base game into your map. And in the base game, if you look at $data maps, it will be in here, maps growth, there it is. And also your environment will be in the map folders. So if you're in the Alpine, which is more northern hemisphere, you'll see the environment.xml will be there, and you'll see the latitude for that is 46.7. And if you go into for instance the US map, don't think there'll be much of a difference. It's 40.6, you see, so it's still in the northern hemisphere. But if you put it down to 30, where we are on the southern, then it definitely makes a huge difference in your the startup of your season when you start the game. I think it starts in February if you have it in the 30s, in the 30s of degrees. It will start in February, and if you have it in over the 40s, you will definitely start in is it September? I think it's September that it starts. I think it's the 9th month, September, somewhere there. Anyways, just after winter. it starts in spring, which I think it's in September around. No, it's not in September. It's actually, yeah, spring is after winter. Here by us, it is September, but I think in the northern hemisphere, it's more like it's more like January or February. I'm not too sure. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I've already shared that with you how you could do that. So if you have a look at the maps growth file, I just want to get back to my map, the maps growth. In here, like I said, I've already made a video on this, how it works, and you can have a look at that in on my channel under FS22 map making. You will definitely find the video there on how to set the sowing and harvesting periods of your fruit, your different fruit. So every fruit is set up here in the maps growth, and you'll see how it works. It's got 12 periods. Okay, now don't mistake the periods with what you see here. What you see here is the 12 periods starting at 1 every time. But there's 12 slots. That's the main idea, or the main way to see it, is there's 12 slots, and then the periods goes into the 12 slots. Now the 12 slot starts by slot 1 and it goes to slot 12. You don't see it here, but in your mind you must see the picture to understand. So you have got 12 empty slots, and you fill the 12 empty slots with these periods. Now if you want the fruit sowing time to go forward, you actually have to reverse the slots. In other words, or the periods in the slots. So period 1 at the moment, say we want to sow wheat 3 months later than where it's currently at, then you'll take period 1 and you put it 3 slots back. In other words, you put it in slot number 9, which will be there. So you bring it slot number 10. So it's at slot number 12 at the moment, so it is it's slot number 9. So then you put it in, you start your period 1 in slot number 9, so it will be there. So you put what you'll do then, for instance, is you'll take period 1, 2 and 3, like so. Just want to get to the end of period 3. I've missed it. So be careful with this, guys, because we're modifying the XML. If you make a mistake here, your growth won't work. But luckily, you've got a backup. So just grab one of the in-game ones if you've messed up but unless you've got multi-fruit on your map, then obviously you want to be careful and make a backup of the XML before you fiddle with it, that type of thing. So period 1, 2 and 3, you cut them, Control X, like so, and then what you'll do is you just drop them at the bottom. And that's how simple it is, guys. Now, what we've done now is we have put that period 3 periods back, or 3 slots back, and now your growth will be 3 periods forward. You see, so that is how it works. If you set it backwards in the slots here, it goes forward in the game. But you can fiddle with that yourself and just do that, as long as they still go in order. So you have 1, 2, 3, and then it jumps up to period slot 1 again, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you have it that way, everything will work fine. If you do it any other way, you're going to have problems. But anyway, fiddle with that around and make sure make a backup before you start going with that. Then there's some other things obviously in the environment that you can tweak, which is color grading scales. If you don't like the way the sun works and looks, you can fiddle with that. But like I say, it's stuff that really you have to spend hours on it to try and make sense of it and get the right feeling that you want in your map. You've got stuff like sunrise and sunset and all that type of stuff in here. So just fiddle with that. You've got, that's with the lighting. Then you've got weather. You can play around with the weather if you want to. I'm not going to do much on that, but it is, in my mind, don't reinvent the wheel. Normally, all these things is set to work in game as it should be. So just set your latitude, and that should be fine. and the game should still use the environment.xml as a working thing. But if you do really want to spend time on that, go and fiddle with it, and yeah, see what you can make sense out of that. Great, guys. And then my last thought on this is, obviously there's a lot of things that we can still do. I was thinking obviously to make like a custom cow, for instance, on this farm. Take one of these cows out and do a nice big cow barn here, a custom one. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but if there's anything that you guys want to have in video format or stuff that you would like to see, just do drop me a message on Patreon or to my email. All my contact details is on my YouTube channel as well as on my website. So just grab all my contacts there. You can also even contact me through Discord. You can throw me a private message in Discord and put a request in there. We can always have a look at that. I constantly help guys out with videos and that on how to do things and whatever. So, but for the series, for the map making series, I think if you guys are interested to see different builds or different things, I can continue doing that on the map making series. It will actually be very nice. If there's things that you really would like to see how to do, you know, then we can tackle that, and I can do videos especially on that. Great. So yeah, do drop me a comment or a message or whatever, and we will definitely get around to that. I think from a Patreon side of things, it will actually be much better just to message me via Patreon messaging, because then what happens is I get an email from you and I can respond to that privately, you know, which is also nice. Then if you do a comment on YouTube, most guys' YouTube names are not the same as their Patreon names, and Patreon names are normally sometimes email addresses. So I never know who's who on YouTube and on Patreon and on even on what you call it, Discord. Guys, usernames are different, you know. So yeah, it's a very difficult to keep track of who's who, you know. So I think for the sake of keeping things nice and organized, let's just work through Patreon. Send me a message through Patreon. It's much easier just to message me there, and then I or immediately know it's a Patreon messaging me, and I don't have to worry who's this messaging me or whatever, you know. Then it just makes life easy, you know. Great, man, guys. Yeah, apart from that, we have a finished working map, because we've done the PDA, we've done everything that. We can also maybe have a look at some troubleshooting. If there's stuff that you guys are struggling with, send me a message and we can tackle that and do some videos on that, because I'm sure what you are struggling with, other guys are struggling too. However, if you do a search on my YouTube, I've got over 500 videos there on everything that you can almost think of, you know, how to do. So there shouldn't really be a reason to make more videos on how-tos, you know. But there's always things that has changed, like what I've realized in FS22, for instance. I've made a lot of videos on FS22 in the beginning, and then afterwards I've found shortcuts and better ways to do things. So it's always nice to make a follow-up video or a fresh video on how to do things, because I've learned easier ways to do things. And I'm like, you guys know me, I'm like the easy way to do things. I don't like struggling, you know. I don't know who likes to struggle, you know. Just keep things simple, I always say. So yes, guys, if there's stuff that you want to see on the map making course, do drop me a message and we can tackle that and have a look at that for sure. Definitely no issues. But yes, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm not going to make this video a tutorial video or an how-to video or anything of that. It's more like a request video on what would you guys like to see still happening in the map making course. What other things can we tackle and do, and let's just get it done. Great stuff, man. Thank you so much, guys, for your support, your continued support, and your friendship. I really appreciate that. Have an awesome day. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.